Back with another review, and tonight we're going to talk about and review A Christmas Story Christmas, which is the sequel to the 1983 classic A Christmas Story. It came out today for HBO Max, and I have to say, right off the bat, I thought this was a good movie. I thought it was a good follow-up to the original, and in fact, I have the original on Blu-ray right here. Now, as far as my thoughts on this, I do like the film, but for me, because I've seen countless times, I respect the film, but it's not my favorite Christmas movie. I'm more of a fan of other ones out there like Scrooged, Christmas Vacation, Jingle All the Way. So for me, I prefer those a little bit more, because this one's on, repeat. It has a 24-hour marathon every year. So I still like the film quite a bit, and I respect the film. It is a classic. So it's a tall order when you have a sequel, 39 years after the fact. And, given the track record, in Hollywood today, there's a lot of sequels out there that don't do too well, that fall flat on their face. I mean, Top Gun Maverick, I enjoyed that quite a bit. That was really good. I thought that was a good sequel that actually did it right. So, with this film here, like I said, right off the bat, I thought it was a good movie. I thought, it had a sweet story, with some returning characters and so much more that I'll get into here. But let's talk about the plot real quick. So the plot to the film is 30 years later, after the events of the first movie. We now follow Ralphie as an adult, and he returns to his old house on Cleveland Street to give his kids a magical Christmas like he had when he was a kid. And he's reconnecting with old friends, and at the same time dealing with the passing of his old man. And that's kind of the plot here to this film. But directed by Clay Kaytis here, and he also directed The Christmas Chronicles, which I didn't know until I looked it up. I still need to watch that film. It's on my to-watch list. But the cast here, you got Peter Billingsley, he returns as Ralphie. You got Erin Hayes as Ralphie's wife, Sandy. This time as Mrs. Parker, you have Julie Haggerty. And you have some other returning characters. The character of Flick, played by Scott Schwartz. Same actor from the original. You have the character Schwartz, played by R.D. Robb. Same actor from the original. You have the character of Scott Farkus, the original bully, played by Zach Ward. He returns here. Ralphie's brother Randy, played by Ian Petrella. You have the same actor from the original. And you have a couple of new characters, like, Ralphie's kids. But when I look at the cast overall, I thought everybody did a good job. I mean, Peter Billingsley, he slides back into the role of Ralphie. I mean, it's 40 years later, so, he's going to have a more deeper voice and stuff, but it's a little weird. I mean, because you always imagine the character of Ralphie as, as a kid. He's a kid actor. But, I thought he did a good job in the film. Erin Hayes, I thought she was good as Ralphie's wife. Julie Haggerty, I thought she was good in the film. And everybody remembers her from Airplane and, What About Bob? She was the wife in that movie. So she's no stranger to comedy. And I thought she did a good job playing Mrs. Parker. And I believe, Melinda Dillon did not come back here. I read somewhere that she retired some time back from acting, but it was cool to see, some of the childhood friends come back here, like the character of Flick and Schwartz, the same actors. I thought they were fun. Farkas, for what he had in the film, that was fun. And, Ralphie's brother Randy, it was neat to see, these characters come back. One thing I will say, I could have used a little bit more of Flick and Schwartz, maybe a little bit more scenes with those two characters, but I thought it was cool to see them two in the story, along with the character of Farkas from the original and Ralphie's brother Randy. It wouldn't be the same without these characters. I mean, yeah, one can argue that maybe they should have brought back Melinda Dillon, but given her age and all that, and she's been retired for some years. But Julie Haggerty does a good job, and the kids, I thought the kids were fine. I would say out of the two kids in the film, of Ralphie's kids, I felt that the girl, Julie, I thought she was the better one. Like, more cuter, whatever. I thought she maybe had a little bit, like, more shine. But the cast here does a good job. And you could see, with the script here and Peter Billingsley, having a hand in the script, the screen story, that they handled it with care and homage, to the original film, to Darren McGavin, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. So the direction and tone of the film definitely, again, was handled with care. The narration by Peter Billingsley, I thought was a nice touch. I mean, he almost sounds like Gene Shepard. I mean, you're not going to top Gene Shepard in the original, but I thought it was a nice touch, to have Peter Billingsley provide narration here. And there's some touching moments. There's some touching moments throughout the film where, Ralphie would reminisce about the old man. And so, yeah, you have like, 3 or 4 scenes that, are touching, that is a tribute to Darren McGavin. The score, I thought there were some good bits of the original score here. And there's some fun bits of humor. I mean, one thing I can say, not every gag lands. And that's maybe a small con here with the film, that, not every joke lands. I mean, you do have some familiar beats, from the original, like, you expect, oh, this is, just watch, this is about to happen, but it turns into a different scene. And so, okay, that's fine. Again, there's some fun bits of humor. The stuff between, Flick and Schwartz, the ramp, that was fun. And there were some fun bits of humor. And so, but also too, again, there were some other bits of humor that didn't land. But the film also has a sweet ending. I like the way the film ended. It was a nice touch and a nice tribute to Darren McGavin, who's definitely missed here. And it's a good message about family and the main purpose of Christmas. It's about spending time with your family and all this other stuff. And I thought the ending, again, was a sweet ending, a nice nod to Darren McGavin and to the original film. So, yeah, I mean, those are some things that I enjoyed about the movie. I mean, if any nitpicks at all, again, I would say some of the humor, some of the gags, they don't land all the way. Like, they don't land for me. There's some fun bits of humor, but there's some other bits of humor that doesn't really land. I could have probably used a little bit more Flick and Schwartz, but that's kind of a minor thing. But overall, with this film, I thought, again, it was a nice sequel. While, yes, it does not top this movie, but I thought it had a sweet story with the heart of the original, and you could see that it was handled with care. And I applaud Peter Billingsley for, not allowing this sequel to fall into the wrong hands, that he wanted to make this film with the same love of the original. Because, you often see a lot, in Hollywood with a lot of these, like I said in the beginning, a lot of these, legacy sequels that happen. And a lot of times, they, low blow the original, or, disregard the original film and all this stuff. But again, Peter Billingsley, again, I applaud here, for handling this film with care, at the same time, paying homage to Darren McGavin. So I do recommend the sequel. Solid movie. So that's my review and thoughts on A Christmas Story Christmas. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.